And welcome back to the channel. Mr. Ecolite here, coming at you with my impressions on the Marvel Tokon closed beta. I was lucky enough to get into the beta, and while I was in, I got a whole bunch of matches in, and I'm ready to share my feedback with you guys just in case you are curious. I'm gonna go ahead and break everything down from the feel of the game to the characters to the mechanics, give you all my thoughts and all that stuff. So let's not waste any time and just jump right on into it. Jumping right into it, just to give you like my overall general opinion before we start breaking down the specifics. Just my general opinion out the gate is I loved it. The game was just so much fun to play. It's literally just as much fun as you would think it is. Like if you've seen the game and it just looks fun from a distance, trust me, it's literally just as fun as it looks. Like from the moment you start playing it, the game just, it feels great to play. And obviously it looks amazing. The characters on screen just look fantastic. Stages are beautiful. Hit effects are great. The impact of the hits feel great. Sound effects, the transitions, the KO screens, the intros, all that stuff, all the aesthetics are just an obvious 10 out of 10. That you can tell without even playing the game. It's just beautiful and just fun to look at. Music as well. I was not expecting the music to be as good as it is, even though it is Arxis and they're known for phenomenal music. I wasn't sure exactly what to expect, but man, yeah, music blew me away too. Captain America's theme, so good. Storm was like the biggest banger. I love that Storm theme. I've actually been listening to it on YouTube. So good. Great music. Arxis, they really did their thing with all of the, you know, basic stuff that you expect or like feel like you need to be good or enjoyable in a fighting game. They definitely killed it in that area. But talking more about the feel of the game, I feel like a lot of people have already said this, and I mean, I myself have said this, and again, it's kind of obvious just by looking at it, but this is like, it's literally the most Arxis game ever, in my opinion. I mean, this game is so Arxis that it hurts, and I mean that in a good way. Because in my opinion, this game is literally Grand Blue, Strive, and DBFZ all put together in a blender. It's like, they literally, Arxis just said, okay, let's take our 3 current modern day fighting games and just cram them all together into one. And that's literally what Tokon is. Like if you, right now, if you are playing or have put a lot of time into any of their 3 modern games, when you get on this game, you're just going to immediately feel right at home. It's actually crazy if you're an Arxis game player, like how quickly you just adapt to the feel of this game, because it feels very familiar in the best possible way. Moving on to the characters, this was another area where I feel like they really knocked it out of the park. All of the characters felt very unique. I feel like this is one of the best sort of like beta starting rosters I've seen in a long time. There are only 6 characters, but all 6 of the characters really felt like completely different. It didn't feel like any of them played even remotely the same in terms of their movesets. Some things in the game do feel kind of uniform right now, like block strings and combo routing and like hit confirms, but we'll get into that, you know, a little bit later. But in terms of like what's available to the characters, such as like, you know, their individual neutral and their assists were all completely different, outside again of the ones that are designed to be exactly the same, like, you know, the ranged assists and the anti-air assists, that's supposed to be different. But the unique assists were all extremely unique and had a lot of personality. So that's number one. I like how unique every single character felt. Tony played like Tony. That's another thing. All the characters play how you would expect them to play. Arxis is so amazing at character expression. Just like they did with the Persona games, just like they did with DBFZ, just like they did with Grand Blue. If it's a character that you're familiar with from their original IP, the way Arxis handles bringing them to life in a fighting game is just, it's extraordinary. Like there's so much personality in every character. Like I said, Tony plays exactly how you would expect him to play. He's got mostly really good range tools, and they were all like pretty fun to utilize. He had even like a cool little like built-in Oki move where he could shoot missiles at you. his unique was like, he basically did like Ki Blast from Dragon Ball, which is kind of funny. You know, a lot of beams. He had his flight mode, pretty much everything you would expect. Doom was very interesting. Doom, to me, played like sort of a zoner, anti-zoner. His whole thing was that like he kind of wants to be away from you and keep you away while also stopping you from throwing anything at him, because his main thing was he puts out his barrier, and when the barrier's up, you know, it blocks assists and projectiles, but he can shoot you through it. And he also has like a laser that he can like put on the screen to either shoot with delayed timing or like track you. It's pretty crazy. He also, which I didn't expect, had the Slayer dash, which I really didn't see coming. The Slayer, if you're not familiar, the Guilty Gear character who like disappears when he dashes, he literally has the Slayer dash, which again, I still can't believe. Kamala, she played like Spencer from Marvel, which again, I did not expect. She can like grapple in just about any direction, so she had a lot of mobility. She also had a little bit of Dalsum in her. I mean, it makes sense, you know, because she's stretchy. You know, she could reach you from anywhere, and she's just basically like a brawler. Like, even though she has a lot of like range and mobility, she's also very dangerous up close because she has a really powerful overhead. She has, you know, a command grab. She's very scary. Kamala was definitely one of the more scary characters in the game. Peter, Star-Lord, again, another really, really scary character in the game. He was like Mr. All-Rounder. He like had basically like everything. He had good neutral assist. He had good neutral because, you know, he has his guns. You know, he has a semi-flight mode for mobility. He has his grenades. But then when he gets on top of you, you know, he has pretty good block string options. He does have an overhead. And then most notably, as everybody probably has seen from the Twitter clips, he can actually freeze you, which is crazy. His combos lead into his super, which freezes you in place and sets you up for a restand or like a combo extension, like whatever you want. So you can literally freeze people, call your assists, tag whatever, and then go for a restand mix. Yeah, he's pretty crazy, and he's like who most like competitive players were playing. Like him and Kamala seem to be the go-to for like competitive play. Storm, man, Storm is amazing. Just as everyone predicted from like the trailers and stuff, she plays a lot like Rachel from Blaze Blue. She controls the wind and the opponent. So her wind stocks allow her to move the wind in different directions, and that does affect the opponent, but it also affects her projectile. So she can like shoot ice and then like push it and pull it to make like these crazy scenarios. Like if you fight a good Storm, man, she's really scary because she has like really good Oki setups when she gets going, and then her neutral can be very disruptive because not only, you know, can she fly and push herself up, but she can kind of like push you away or pull you. So it feels very weird when you're like running forward and then suddenly the wind just like pushes you backwards and you're like, whoa, or vice versa. Like the wind suddenly pulls you towards her. It can be very jarring and very scary, like being on the other end of Storm's wind control. And then Cap, the character that I pretty much played exclusively in the beta because I just really wanted to get comfortable with the mechanics and everything. Man, he's really fun. He's kind of like the Ryu of the game, but at the same time, he had a lot of utility, like a lot more than you would think, because of his shield. Like his shield throw has a lot of different variants. Like you can throw it at a lot of different angles. So it gave him really, really good neutral control. He even had like Oki off of it because you could throw the shield straight up. You could bounce it off the floor. You could bounce it off the wall in front of you. And then most importantly, you could kick it. So like whenever the shield was coming back, you could kick it to like interact with it. He had a lot. He also had a really good overhead that launched, and he had a really fast low that launched. So whenever you put somebody in assist pressure with him, that overhead low was very, very dangerous. And yeah, just in general, he was like super fun. I think I'm still going to stick with him as a teammate when the actual game comes out, because man, yeah, he was really enjoyable. But yeah, that rounds out the characters. I think that they are all very, very creative and brought to life really well. All their level 3s look really sick, by the way. Like if you haven't seen the supers, I would check out their supers. Everybody's level 3 looked really cool. Cap's especially I thought was awesome. I love the way he punches the shield. Tony's is great. Star-Lord's is great. Yeah, they're all like really, really cool. So man, yeah, great job from Arxis on the actual characters. Moving on to the mechanics, that is probably one of the most important aspects of any fighting game outside of, the characters and the aesthetics and stuff. The mechanics I really enjoyed overall. I have a few little, let's call them concerns or critiques, but we'll save that for the end. But for now, I just want to kind of talk about how the mechanics work and my thoughts on them. So starting with the movement in this game really is like a hybrid. It feels like all three games to me. Like the movement feels like DBFZ at times, but it also feels like Grand Blue, and it also feels like Strive. So to explain what I mean by that, I feel like in general, you're sort of moving on the ground at a sort of like Grand Blue speed, because this game does have like a pretty calm neutral, especially when the opponent's not calling assists or there's no assists at play. This feels like a very, you might even feel like you're playing a regular 1v1 game when you and your opponent are on the ground. And it's like you don't really move. It's not slow, but you don't move at like a crazy like Strive breakneck speed or like at a Dragon Ball speed either. It's kind of like somewhere in the middle. I feel like once you jump, the jumping aspect of the game is more like DBFZ because it has the same double jump in the same IAD. So when you IAD, it's not the Strive IAD, it's the DBFZ one. So just think of the general movement. The movement feels amazing. I feel like they struck a perfect balance because it feels good to move. You can move backwards relatively fast, you can move forward relatively fast, but not so fast that it's like blinding. I always felt like I was in control of the space around me, in that I could tell where the opponent is and I could get to them. So yeah, movement is great. Buttons. Again, buttons here is another hybrid system. It's Dragon Ball meets Grand Blue. So it's definitely like Dragon Ball and Grand Blue combined. And what I mean by that is the buttons are they're all pretty normal. So like the buttons are kind of like Grand Blue, 'cause they're all pretty normal. You have like your light button, short range, medium button, a little bit longer range, heavy button, like a big chunky attack, just like in Grand Blue. And then, but similar to Dragon Ball, it has a whiffable auto combo. So if you just mash square, you'll kind of whiff and do an auto combo on whiff, but it doesn't have anywhere near the range of the auto combo in DBFZ. However, when you get on somebody's block or on hit, the auto combo is more reminiscent of Grand Blue, to where if I press L and then hit you with that, and then I press M, I can chain from L to M. But if I press M a second time, my M is going to turn into an auto combo. So it has the Grand Blue structure of if you ever repeat a button, that means, oh, I want to do auto combo just to chain this. So again, it's kind of both, because you can do like 2L, 5L, 2M, 5M, like DBFZ. But if you ever just repeat the same button, it triggers the auto combo. So again, if you've played Grand Blue before, I feel like Grand Blue is like the main game that if you've played it, you're gonna ease into this, because even the button scheme is almost identical to Grand Blue. Because me personally, I switched where some of the buttons were, and for me, that helped me out drastically. I was pretty much doing everything right away because it felt like I was playing Grand Blue. Square is light, triangle is medium, circle is heavy, X is unique, R1 is your skill button. If you press skill button and triangle at the same time, you do the medium version. Skill button and circle at the same time, you'll do the EX version. It's literally the same thing. L2 calls assist like in DBFZ. It's literally like I'm just playing games that I've been playing. So me personally, I mean, it's going to be different for everybody, but me personally, like making those slight tweaks, it just really made it to where I felt like I picked up the game in like 2 minutes. So yeah, like again, you can see like this is like the most ArcSys game ever made. Next mechanic I want to talk about is assists. So starting with the way you actually unlock your assists as time goes on. In case you don't know, this is a 4v4 game, but when the match starts, you only have access to 1 assist. So as the match progresses, whether you trigger a wall break or a wall splat, or you lose a round, you steadily unlock more of your team. And I actually think this is a genius idea. I actually really love this because so far, part of the most like fun of the game is trying to play in a way that allows you to unlock your other team members. Because once you have all of your assists available, you basically just feel like a monster. Because not only when you unlock a new member do you get the assist, but it gives you another assist bar. Because if you look at the bar underneath the health at the top, that is your assemble gauge. And when the match starts, you only get one of those. But as the match progresses, you get another one and another one. And by the end, you have 3. And once you have 3 of those, it really opens the game up because you get so many different types of block string, combo, and even neutral options. So that felt fun every single match, just trying to assemble my team. It's even to the point where, honestly, you don't really mind losing a round, because when you lose a round, you get an assist member. So sometimes when I lost a round, I was kind of relieved because it's like, dang, they just completed my team, or okay, cool, I just got my next member. So it actually, you don't really mind losing a round because it makes you so much stronger. I actually love that aspect. It's really genius because, like, again, it makes the game fun and intuitive, but it also makes it to where it's not overwhelming. Because I feel like if someone who is new to fighting games, or even just if you play fighting games before but you don't necessarily play tag games, I feel like if when the match started, both players just had access to 4 characters and were just calling a million assists and there's just a million things on the screen, that would probably be too chaotic. So the fact that you build up to it over time makes it feel earned, and it makes it feel sort of controlled, because by the time you get to, you know, 4 assists, it kind of puts you in that headspace of like, okay, now I got this, and now I got this, and now I got this. And it was a very dynamic feeling, and I really like that. The meter system, I like the meter system too. You build meter pretty quickly, and then when you have it, it does feel like there's a lot of good things you can do with it. Your EX moves feel very powerful in this game. Anytime I had a bar, it really felt like, you know, I was powerful. So I like the way the meter works in this game. Also, I kind of talked about it before, but the assemble meter, that is like everything. You need that to extend your combos. You need that to, you know, extend your pressure. So you're always keeping an eye on that, and you're keeping an eye on if your opponent has that as well. Very, very nice way that they divvied up the meter here. And it feels like I said, when you have your meter, especially your assemble meter, it just feels like you can really go crazy. Throws in this game felt very, very powerful. I think these are the strongest throws in any fighting game in a long time in terms of damage. Like, they literally do a chunk. It felt like they did like 10 to 12%. I'm not even kidding. Like, if you get thrown, it does a chunk. And that's not a bad thing, because at this game's core right now, outside of a few circumstances, it does feel like this game is mostly a lot of mids. So I do feel like throws need to be kind of powerful with the way this game's set up right now. So I'm not really against that, but it is something to note that yeah, throws felt like they really hurt. Defensive system. The defensive system here was, yeah, this is one area where I'm not really sure how I feel about it right now, because right now, on paper, it doesn't feel like you have a lot of options when somebody's on top of you. Mostly, I was saving my meter for like level 3 reversal, and that did get me out of dodge a lot of times. But the game's universal defensive mechanic feels a little risky. Basically, you have like a guard cancel, and like you can guard cancel people off of you using your assist. So it's like if I have Storm up and she's available, and I have an assemble bar, I can use Storm and that assemble bar to guard cancel somebody. Now the thing is, if I do that and the opponent reacts, they can counter it. And if that gets countered, it's basically like this game's version of a snap. You become disassembled, and when you're disassembled, man, you are disassembled for like 5 whole real life minutes. It's like you get locked out of all of your assists. So you are a solo character, and solo characters in this game are considerably weaker than anything, because without your assist, you can't really do anything. You know, you can't cover the neutral, you can't extend your block strings, you can't extend your combos. So in that state, you are garbage. So it's not hard to guard cancel someone in this game, but anytime I did it, in the back of my mind, I just kept thinking, man, like 3 months into this game, I feel like everybody's gonna counter guard cancel every time, so I don't really want to get in the habit of doing it. But it also felt like that's the only way to get people off of you. So I am curious to see how that's gonna go in the future. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe maybe it's not as easy to counter it as I think it's gonna be. That's one of those things where time will definitely tell. And moving away from the mechanics, I did want to talk about something equally important, and that is the netcode. So I played a lot of matches, and in my experience, the netcode felt very, very, very good. I mean, Arxis, at this point, they've basically like perfected rollback. It was very rare, if ever, I lagged with anybody. There was a Wi-Fi filter indicator, so you know you can always keep an eye on that too. But everybody I fought, the connection just felt great. Even if the person had like orange bars, you know, I accepted a couple of orange bars on purpose to see how it felt, and it felt great. Like it's one of those games where you forget that you're playing online. You know, every time I got into a match, I wasn't even really thinking about it. I was just thinking about, you know, the match itself and what I wanted to do and how much fun I was having. I never really thought about the netcode, so that's probably the biggest praise I can give, is that I wasn't even really thinking about it. The game just felt so natural to play, and it never ever felt like, oh my god, like, you know, my button's not coming out, or oh my god, like I blocked that. It was just, I was just like really just absorbed in the match. Okay, and lastly, I wanted to talk about possible criticisms or concerns, because, you know, I just spent the last however many minutes, you know, just, you know, gassing the game up to the extreme. So I do want to give some of my actual, you know, concerns. So let me start with the number one concern, the number 1 and 2 concerns that a lot of people have on you know, social media that I've seen and people have asked me. People said, like, is this a 1v1 game pretending to be a tag game? And my answer to that is no. I feel, again, I don't want to retread all the stuff I said, but I feel, again, this game has been designed incredibly well. Right now, and even you yourself, if you're listening to this, when you get on the game, you're going to play one character with assists. That's just like the natural flow. But make no mistake that the future of this game is rapidly tagging and active tagging, because this is just due to the fact of just how many options you get from active tag in this game. It's just the ability to call a character, have that character be somewhere on the screen, you queue up something with the character that you're playing, and then suddenly you become another character is insanely powerful. And if you look on Twitter, there's so many examples of like combo extensions, Oki setups, block string setups that get nasty. Basically, the future of this game will be very similar to like BB Tag in Marvel Infinite, where what you're really gonna want to do is queue something up with your point character, bring in an assist, do something else with the point character that has like a big animation on it or lasts for a while, and then active tag. And then within all of that craziness is where you want to try to actually get your hit in your mix-up, because now your opponent is dealing with basically like a non-linear sort of block string. Because right now, the block strings and pressure that everyone's doing is kind of uniform. Everybody's doing like button, 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 assist, dash up, button, button, button. And yeah, after like, that's really not gonna get that many hits. In a few weeks in, that's definitely not gonna get any hits. So you're gonna have to get creative with like, you know, something, 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 active tag into a real setup that's sort of ambiguous. And that's definitely gonna be the future of the game. And then combos. When it comes to combos, I've seen a lot of people kind of worried about it. This is another area where I would definitely say like, yeah, I think the game is in good hands. Like, the thing that's kind of weird is that, like, yes, you can't do solo combos. Like, solo combos are not really allowed. You basically have to do combos with assist, because if you do a solo combo, which you can do, like using Captain America as an example again, 'cause that's who I played the most. Captain America has multiple launchers. Like, he has a ground pound launcher that'll send you up, and then when you go up with the opponent, he has an EX dive, which brings the opponent down with a dive attack and then rebounces them off the ground again. If you do both of those, you're probably going to hit combo limit and they're going to spin out. So at some point you have to bring an assist in there to knock that combo limit down, because the only thing that detracts from your combo limit is assists. I was wondering, because I was discussing this with some friends, and I was wondering if maybe they could loosen this up a bit and have it put in a rule where if you do an EX move, maybe that could bring the combo scaling, the combo limit down as well. That way, you know, you're not 100% forced to always just call an assist, but that might be against the spirit of the game, and I don't know if that would like break the game or not. I don't really want to comment too much on things that they should do in that area when the game is still so new, because who knows, you know, when the game comes out within a few months, the combos might just be insane anyway with no changes. So that's not something I want to comment on too much without like a lot more time on the game. And one concern that I do have, or one change that I would like to see, and I touched on it a little bit in the mechanics section, but one thing that like I'm just not too crazy about, maybe my opinion will change over time, is the assists on block situation. I don't love that you get locked out of your assists when you're on somebody's block. I do wish that it was more traditional, like Dragon Ball FighterZ or Hunter x Hunter or Marvel vs. Capcom, where if I have a beam assist, you know, I wish I could still string into it, because my favorite unique assist was Dr. Doom. I always played Dr. Doom 4th because I absolutely love his unique assist. You know, it targets you with a laser for like 2 seconds and then shoots it, and the laser has like a kabillion block stun. So it was really fun to call it and then, you know, try to pressure the opponent into being in the way of the laser so that it could go off and I could get a mix up. And it kind of sucks that I can only do that at neutral, and if I'm on the ground at neutral and I'm not doing anything, like I can't be throwing a projectile, I can't be throwing a special move, I can't be doing a unique, and I can't be blocking anything. So that felt a little restrictive to me, that the only situation where I can call my unique assist is just like basically on Oki, or if I like run away, you know, if I run away from my opponent and they're not doing anything to me, then I can call it. But you know, if I throw a special move, if I put them in block string, or I'm doing a combo, these are all situations where I'm locked out of my neutral assists. I would like to see that change. That's like my biggest criticism, is I feel the assists right now are just a little too restricted, and I would like to see that restriction just weaken just a little bit. But even with that being said, again, I want to stress that I really enjoyed the game, and I cannot wait to play more. Specifically, I just can't wait to play Spider-Man. I can't wait to see how he actually plays in that game, and I can't wait to see what future characters are, because like I said, I was already having so much fun like playing around with team dynamics with just 6 characters in the game. I can't even imagine when this game has 20 or even like, you know, 30 or more. Like when this game has like a whole bunch of characters, like, you know, like a huge roster, it's just gonna be bonkers, because even with a small roster, it's this fun. So yeah, I really can't wait to play. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Those were my thoughts on the Tokon Beta. Be sure to let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like on this video, it would help me out a lot, and I do appreciate it. If you want to see my Tokon matches, check out the link in the description below or at the end of the video. But as always, you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.